Hello. I thought I would tell the story of my spiritual master, Meher Baba, and our family Bible. Um, I was fairly new to Meher Baba. I suppose maybe I had been with him for about 5 years when this story happened. I want to introduce those of you who don't know to who Meher Baba was. He dropped his body and left this world in 1969. I didn't hear about him until 1975. If you hear a bunch of chirping, that's my little zebra finches. They'll quiet down when the sun sets and they go to sleep. So I wanted to tell you who Meher Baba is so that you can understand how he is my spiritual master and the background to this story. Meher Baba told us that he is the avatar. The avatar, I think, is a Sanskrit word that it means God in human form. And according to Meher Baba's teachings, he comes every 700 years to help the universe move along in its evolution, to help the whole universe, the animals, the plants, and the humans. So in this cycle of time, after many millions of cycles of time, he was Zoroaster, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and in his most recent advent, he was Meher Baba. His parents were Iranian, but he was born and lived in India. And he visited Myrtle Beach, South Carolina 3 times in the 1950s to establish his Universal Spiritual Retreat. And that's here where I live, about a quarter mile down the road. And that's why I moved to Myrtle Beach. The way the story goes, I suppose I had been with Meher Baba at least 5 years, maybe more, maybe 10, I'm not sure. I came to him in 1975, and I moved to Myrtle Beach in 1982, and this story happened after I was living in Myrtle Beach. So I had gone home to Kentucky to visit my family, and I was at the home of one of my brothers, and his girlfriend was expressing anxiety that she was afraid that their relationship would end soon, which it eventually did. And she knew that I knew quite a bit about astrology. So she asked me if I would look at my brother's astrological chart and see if I could tell if he was going to most likely stay with her or not. I don't think I'm that good at astrology to know that, but I do know a lot about astrology. I know so much that sometimes I think perhaps I was a very good astrologer in previous incarnations. I can very often guess a person's astrological sign by looking at them. To me, it's like most people would recognize someone from Italy or Germany or Africa. that's how I see people astrologically in their personality. So I wanted to help her, and I knew that my parents had a family Bible, and on a certain page in that family Bible were listed all the people in the family and what year they were born. And there were also little envelopes with each baby's first haircut, their first curls, little golden curls in each envelope with their name on it. So I went back to my parents' house where I was staying to ask where the family Bible was so that I could know his birth date and look up his astrological chart. So when I got home, I went to ask my mom where the family Bible was. And I want to tell you, when I was a little boy, I had such a beautiful, peaceful feeling about the family Bible. It was fairly thick, bound in leather, and the edges of all the pages were gold. It was very holy looking. I felt very peaceful when I was around it. I remember my first memories of the family Bible when I was a young boy. Mom would have us take naps in the afternoon when we were home from school in the summer. And our house was the most popular house in the entire neighborhood for children. There were 7 of us in the family, 7 children. And each of us had several friends, and everyone played at our house. Our house was the most fun place to be. But I guess to preserve her sanity, Mom would have us take an hour nap every afternoon. And it was hot in the summer. This was before people had air conditioning. And all the neighbor children had to leave the property line. And it was funny because some of them didn't bother to go home. They knew that they would be allowed back within an hour, so they just went to the very edge of the property line and sat there waiting like little anxious puppies for the moment when they can come back and play again. But during that hour, it was very peaceful in the house. It was very, very quiet. No one was speaking. And I guess I would lay on the hardwood floor in the living room because it was cooler to lay on the floor in the middle of the heat of the summer. And I wouldn't take a nap. What I liked to do was open the Bible and draw pictures of Jesus and the apostles from the illustrations in the Bible. I had such a wonderful feeling about how beautiful the paintings were, and I was just in awe and inspired by the illustrations of Jesus and the apostles and the beautiful flowing robes that they wore. Very beautiful illustrations in this Bible. So I would lay on the floor and open the Bible and get out a piece of typing paper and my pencils and colored pencils and try to imitate the illustrations. And I've always loved to draw. I'm an illustrator by trade and a fine artist, and I've always drawn and created things since I was very little. So that gives you a background, basic information on my relationship to this Bible. I don't think I ever read it. unlike some Christian religions, I never noticed Catholics actually reading the Bible much. We had it read to us in Catholic Mass, but and I guess we heard stories about it in school, but we weren't as studious at reading it as some of the other Christian religions, at least not in my town, which is in Kentucky. So, to get back to the main story, I went to ask Mom, where's this family Bible? And she and Dad were in the television room, very focused on a documentary that was on the television. And they were so focused on it, she could hardly pay attention to me to tell me where it was. Eventually, she told me it was upstairs in their bedroom on a bookshelf. So I wondered why they were so interested in this show that they could hardly take their eyes off it. So I sat down to see what it was about and asked them. And they told me it was a documentary about U.S. Navy men who were forced by the Navy to stand on the deck of their ship in the South Pacific at the Bimini Atolls and witness atomic explosions to see if it had any effect on them from several miles away. And they told me that Dad had been there. He was one of the people on this ship witnessing the atomic explosions, and they were interested in watching it because my dad had developed severe Parkinson's disease, and he was very, very sick with that for, I guess, the last 20 years of his life, and he died relatively young. So I was shocked to hear this. I had never heard it, this story. And I'm one who is very interested in family stories and family history. And I always pay attention. And I had never heard this story. I was shocked that something that important had never been spoken about in my presence. So I left them watching the show, and I went upstairs to get the Bible off the shelf. I found it, and I sat cross-legged on the floor and opened it up. And the very first page that opened, an old faded yellowed newspaper clipping fell out of the Bible onto the floor. And I'm one who always pays attention to signs. I speak to God that way. I take signs everywhere. So I thought, well, this is important. I need to look and see what this newspaper clipping is about. And I opened it up, and I couldn't believe it. It was shocking. It was an old, the paper was very yellow with age. And there was a photograph, a black and white photograph of my father when he was in the Navy, wearing his uniform with his sailor hat on, cocked to the side, looking very handsome. And the headline said, "Local man witnesses atomic explosion at the Bimini Atoll." So this article was in the local small town newspaper in Kentucky in the 1950s when he was in the Navy. Actually, I was already born when he when this happened. I was living in Kentucky with my mom, and he was in the South Pacific in the Korean War. I think he said his ship was involved in taking on refugees from the war to get them to safety. So, I was shocked when I saw that article. I had just heard that information, and I was so shocked to suddenly see it verified again, stated twice for me on this newspaper. I had chills all over my body, and I was very much aware God is talking to me. So I think there's more. This has just got my attention. So I put my antenna up, and I was on the lookout for what other information might be coming my way. I had a feeling this was just to get my attention. This wasn't the main message. Besides, there wasn't much I could do with that information. So I didn't think that was the message. That was just to get my attention. So, what happened next? I got my brother's birth date, recorded it, wrote it down so that I could look up his chart. And then I thought, I'm going to get a message. Oh, no. Maybe something else happened. Let me back up a minute. Yeah. I was thumbing through the Bible, and something else. Let me make sure I'm telling this in the right order. Okay, I think I am. Something else fell out of the Bible, and this shocked me also. And it was a little card about the size of a bookmarker, maybe like the size of a business card. And it was a very famous card of my spiritual master, Meher Baba. Meher Baba is the first one who coined the phrase, "Don't worry, be happy." Many years after he passed, a song was recorded using his words. And this card had a photograph of Meher Baba when he was older and had gained weight, and it was a very jolly looking photo. His face was round and he had a belly, and I think his hair was out flowing long. And it's just an unusually jolly, happy looking photo. Maybe his hair wasn't, maybe it was tied back. I don't remember. Maybe you'll see the card someday, because it gets around. There were quite a few printed. In fact, I've been told by a friend of mine who loves Meher Baba, who got to be at Woodstock. I tried to get there but didn't make it. But she was at the Woodstock Festival, which was in the summer of 1969, just a few months or weeks after Meher Baba dropped his body. I personally felt that the Woodstock Festival was all young people in America picking up on the vibrations that Meher Baba left when he left this planet. His essence went over the planet, and I think the hippie generation picked up on that. Way before I heard of Meher Baba, I was on the tail end of the hippie generation, and I was in awe of it. I thought it was amazing. And it makes me sad when I hear people now say how dirty and grungy and lazy hippies were. The side of it that I saw was people blissed out on God. I didn't even know anything about Krishna, but I felt that the energy on the earth at that time was like Krishna and his gopis dancing happily. His female disciples, they were called gopis. And Krishna was very much known for this happiness and dancing. So that's what I felt about the hippies. I felt like the older generation, for some reason, weren't picking it up on their radio antenna, but the hippies were, and they were blissed out with it. It made them want to dance. It made them feel immense amount of love for humanity, love for earth, love for nature, flowers, organic food. All those things came about at that time. And when I used to hear the song by Scott McKenzie singing, if you come to San Francisco, be sure to wear flowers in your hair, I would cry every time I heard that song. Now, try not to cry right now. So later, when I heard about Meher Baba, I felt that that's what happened. He died in 1969. His energy spread over the earth. His essence spilled out. And the hippies felt it, responded to it for a few years. And Meher Baba talked a lot about the new humanity to come. He says he comes every 700 years, and he says that next time when he comes back, there will be so much love and harmony on the earth, and people will love each other so much that he won't even be a big deal anymore. That everyone will be like him. Everyone will be like Jesus. One of my current spiritual teachers tells us that even the politicians will be honest. So that's a big leap. He talked a lot about the new humanity to come and the end of wars and a new human to be evolved. So I don't remember if I said what happened with my friend at the Woodstock Festival. She said there was a helicopter overhead dropping thousands and thousands of the Don't Worry, Be Happy cards onto the crowd below. And that's where she first saw his picture and heard of him. And many people will tell you that that card is the first time they saw Meher Baba's face. So that was the card that fell out of the family Bible when I was flipping through the pages. It fell out on the floor. And that really shocked me. I thought, how in the world did Meher Baba's card end up in the family Bible? I wondered who put it there. I don't remember giving this card to anybody in my family. I've never felt inclined to try to encourage any of my family members to believe in Meher Baba. I do share stories about him and my relationship with him, but I've never had any interest in trying to convince anybody of anything. Personally, I feel that a person's relationship with God is the greatest romance of their life, and I don't belong in the middle of that romance. If it happens naturally and people ask me questions, I will tell them, but it never occurred to me to waste my time and energy trying to convince anybody. I don't like that method of, what do they call it, converting. I'm not drawn to do that at all. And plus, I don't think it works. I think it's a waste of time. So, and Baba can do it himself. I don't need to push hard. So, also, if any of my family members did start to believe in him and be part of the Meher Baba community, I might feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's like my own private world, and I've never had those two parts of my world come together, my family and the Meher Baba community. So I might feel a little bit crowded out. So I'm wondering how the card got there, and I'm imagining, I guess I gave it to someone, and I don't think my parents were very happy about the fact that I had left the Catholic Church when I was about 12 years old. And I'm amazed at such an early age. I decided the Pope is no closer to God than me. I don't need the Pope to come between me and God. I saw a lot of hypocrisy among the priests in our church and some of the nuns. Plus, religious organizations are just not my style. I'm a very independent person. Even in the Meher Baba community these days, I'm only on the fringe. I'm not involved much at all, other than all the artwork I do with Meher Baba. So I'm just not a group person. In fact, one thing I don't like in the Meher Baba community at this time is that I see a group think developing. Not as bad as it could be, but there are some thoughts that I don't agree with, that groups of people, large groups of people in the community are locking onto, especially their political leanings. I would guesstimate 90 to 95% of the people in the Meher Baba community are very liberal Democrats, and I personally think Democrats are crazy, mentally ill people. So I don't know how the same people that found my spiritual master are so crazy. I can't figure that out. So where were we? This card falling out of the Bible. It really touched me, and I'll try to explain to you why. When I went away to college and felt comfortable enough to let my friends know that I'm gay, when my father found out, he was very, very upset. He thought it was very horrible. This was in the 1970s, early 1970s. Gay liberation was just beginning to get started. And I suppose he was worried that I would convert my brothers and sisters. In those days, people like my father didn't understand that's not how it works. You're born gay or heterosexual. You don't convert anybody. But he didn't know that, and he thought I would be a bad influence on my brothers and sisters. So he told me to leave home and never come back. It was a very traumatic scene. So I went out the front door of the house to hitchhike back to Lexington, where I was in college. And my poor mom was so upset, she ran to the door and yelled after me. She wanted me to know that when she died, the piano that she inherited from her favorite grandmother would be mine. It was a very melodramatic moment. Um, but as it turned out, my mom did come to Lexington to visit me a few times, but I wasn't allowed to go home. So that lasted, I'm thinking, about 3 years. And eventually I was able to come back a little bit at a time. But then, when I was 22 and I accepted Meher Baba to be the avatar, Dad was upset again. He figured that Meher Baba was Satan or something really bad or against Jesus. So again, I was told to leave the family and never come back. And again, it took about 3 years, I'm guessing about 3 years, before I was able to come back home and allowed in the house around my brothers and sisters. So to have been told to leave the family home and never come back, and then to find Meher Baba in the family Bible, made me start crying. Tears were running down my cheeks and dropping on my legs as I sat cross-legged on the floor. And I thought my parents had taken my God and put him in the Bible with their God, that for safekeeping, to keep that card in a loved place. And I had never known it was there. It had been there for several years and I didn't know it. And I really felt included and accepted in the family when I saw my God in their Bible. And I was very overwhelmed, crying a lot. And then I started having a thought that I had never had before. And suddenly I saw the whole story from my parents' point of view. What I had done was seen the situation from my point of view all those years, which I think is what most of us do. That's what we all do. We see things from our point of view. And here I was having a chance to see the entire situation from my parents' point of view, that they're suspecting that I'm going down the wrong path in life, that I'm not going to go to heaven, that I'm following Satan or somebody very dangerous, that this is a horrible, bad thing. And they're really worried about me, feeling my soul is lost, and feeling confused and tormented and hurt. That's not the way they wanted things to turn out. And even with all that pain, still accepted him and put him in the Bible. I had only thought about my suffering, my pain. I never stopped to think about theirs until that moment. Then, like I said, I look for signs, I look for communication from God as much as I can. I'm constantly having internal conversations. And I thought, well, while the energy is very high right now, the vibrations are very intense. So I know of a way to get even more meat out of this, even more communication with God. There's a tradition of opening the Bible to a random page and putting your finger on a spot and reading that passage, and that's the answer from God to your question. And so I opened a page and I decided I'll read the very first paragraph that begins on the left-hand side. The beginning paragraph as you open a page, and that will be my message that God wants me to hear today. And that's what all this has led up to. And so I read it and started crying more and more, because it was a passage that said, I imagine it was from the Old Testament. That's another thing. In the Catholic Church that I went to, we didn't study the Old Testament much, but I think our Baptist friends in the neighborhood really studied it very much. So we were always in the Catholic Church studying the Christian saints. That's mostly what we, and the life of Jesus. So I guess it would be the Old Testament, because it was pretty scary and severe. Fire and brimstone and all that kind of stuff, that fierce God. And the passage was talking about saying that if anyone that you know follows any other God, even if it's someone in your own family, the very best thing that you can do about that situation is to stone that person to death. Even if it's your own brother, even if it's your own son, you should stone that person to death if he does not believe in the true God. And I had never heard about that passage before, but it helped me appreciate even more how far my parents, especially my father, because my mother was not so strict about religion as my father was very strict. And so it really illustrated how far they had to go from their thinking to accepting me and my relationship with Meher Baba. I don't remember what happened with the astrological information. My brother did leave the girl not long after that, and found a wonderful wife. I guess that's all that I think to tell about that story. Before I go, I would like to tell you about my major life plans for the rest of my life. My biggest goal in the physical world, other than enjoying life and loving people and loving my family and appreciating what I have, my biggest goal in the physical world is to build a museum to house the paintings that I do of Meher Baba. Over the years, I've sold hundreds of medium-sized paintings and pastels, but then I started wanting to do very large oil on canvas paintings that are very surrealistic. I think they are averaging about 5 foot by 7 or 8 foot, about that size. I think I've painted about 30 so far, but I have hundreds of ideas for more that I hope to get done. And I don't want to sell these paintings. I want to put them in a museum. So my goal is to build a museum to house these paintings for after I pass on. And I do these paintings in my sign shop where I work, and I have tourists coming in every day ordering signs for their homes. And they see my paintings of Meher Baba, and they're very whimsical. It's usually involving animals, especially baby animals, with human characteristics. I like the way animals seem to so clearly illustrate the different characteristics that humans have. I think it's a very interesting subject because I imagine that down through reincarnations, after we go through the animal form and get to the human form, we carry a lot of these personality traits from the different species of animals. But I enjoy them because it shows humans, or a natural, innocent side of humans. And so when all my customers enjoy these paintings, I don't feel very comfortable telling them it's about Meher Baba. They want to know something. And a lot of the people in my shop are Southern Christians, and they're very sweet, beautiful people. I love them and enjoy them very much, but it might be a stretch for some of them to accept a reincarnation of Jesus. And I don't know who, unless it comes up in conversation, you don't know who you can discuss this with. So it occurred to me to tell them, this is Daddy God. It's my idea of what God would look like if he came to Earth and played with his creatures. So the name of the museum that I want to build will be the Daddy God Art Museum. And hopefully it'll have 100 or 200 paintings of Meher Baba that I've done. And I was an architect major in college, so I've spent several years having so much fun designing this museum. And I actually owned the land at one point to build it. It was a beautiful piece of land with the ocean on one side and the salt marsh on the other. And the idea is to build about at least a 10,000 square foot building to look like a low country home that I can live in for a few years, and then after I pass, it'll be the museum. And but in the real estate bubble that burst in 2007, I had $1.5 million in cash when I sold some real estate, but to avoid paying taxes on it, I reinvested it in more real estate, and immediately the bubble burst and I lost all my $1.5 million. So that was in 2007. This is 2022. I don't have a penny to my name. So how am I going to finance this museum? It's going to cost millions of dollars to buy the land and build it and to keep it functioning for several hundred years. So I have the idea to do a television art show that I'm working on, and also to ask you viewers of these videos, if you feel inclined, to donate money to the building fund of this museum. So after the video is posted, I will have information on how anyone can donate money now or leave this museum in their will after they pass on to leave some money for this. Right now, when people in the Meher Baba community pass on, a lot of them will leave their entire estate to different Meher Baba foundations, and that would be a great thing to help finance this museum if anyone wanted to do that. My vision for this museum, Meher Baba says that in the future people will come to see him as the reincarnation of Jesus. Everybody in the world will eventually come to know that. And there is Meher Baba Spiritual Center here in Myrtle Beach, where people can come for retreat, spiritual retreat. And also on the weekends they have movies and performances where you can learn more about Meher Baba. So I imagine there will be hundreds and thousands of people coming here for that purpose. And then there's also the home that Meher Baba stayed in when he was in a car accident, and he was recuperating for several months. So that is a Meher Baba historical landmark that people might want to visit. And there's also a sculpture and flower garden between Myrtle Beach and Charleston, south of Myrtle Beach, called Brookgreen Gardens. That's a very beautiful place. Very, very large park that Meher Baba toured and walked through. So I imagine that people who want to know more about him or learning about him will want to go there and follow his footsteps. And so my vision is that the Daddy God Art Museum will be one more location that they can go when they come as pilgrims or tourists to this area. It would be a nice place to stop and spend an hour or two looking at the paintings in a beautiful big low country style house, and then maybe go on their way to Charleston for dinner or to see the historic buildings down there. There is also, across the street from the Meher Baba Center, a bookstore that sells my art prints and all the books that are published about Meher Baba. So I've told you about the art museum is my plan, and I've told you that we will be needing people to donate money if they like. Below this video, I will post information on my websites where you can purchase art prints of my paintings, illustrated books. I'm working on all kinds of things, children's coloring books, jigsaw puzzles. And another project that I'm working on, I would like to do a series of full-length Walt Disney style animated films of Meher Baba. I've started the work. I know a little bit about computer animation. I want to do 2D animation like the original Disney style, like Walt Disney's Snow White and those type, Bambi, those type of illustrations. I'm more inclined, I think they're more elegant than the 3D animation, which is so popular right now. So I've actually begun work on that, and I know of at least 3 people in the Meher Baba community, younger people, who know how to do computer graphics. And in fact, one of them went to animation school at my encouragement. So if I had the funds, I could pay these 3 younger guys for their time and work to work on this full-length feature animated film of Meher Baba done in my Daddy God style of artwork, which you can see at the link that'll be below this video. So I guess that's everything I needed to say for now, and I thank anyone who listened and hope you enjoyed it. I love to tell stories and plan to do many more of these. This is only the 2nd or 3rd one that I've done, so maybe I'll learn and get better. And I have many, many more stories, dreams of Meher Baba and miraculous experiences. I'm also thinking of interviewing other Baba lovers and having them on video for this reason. There's many, many hundreds, if not thousands, of books about every hour of every day of Meher Baba's life and all of his close disciples. But there's not very much information about the Baba stories in the lives of his lovers, how they heard about Meher Baba, how he turned the key to switch their brain around to accept him. Very amazing and beautiful stories that are just as real and just as important as the actual physical stories of him in his body. So I would like to interview other people to hear their stories and their dreams that they've had of Meher Baba and those experiences. Okay, thanks for listening so far, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to be making more videos for you very soon. Bye-bye. Hello, my name is Steve Jameson. The brush and pen name of Woden I use for my paintings and stories of my spiritual master, Meher Baba. I hope you enjoyed the video presentation. I plan to create many, many more, so come back from time to time to hear more true life stories of Meher Baba. I also plan to interview others who have had personal Baba experiences and people who follow other spiritual masters such as Jesus, Muhammad, and Buddha. I would like to take this time to give you more information on my work. I have a website entitled DaddyGodArtStudio.com. On this website, you can find art prints of my Meher Baba paintings in a very wide range of sizes and prices. There are greeting cards available, and my short story books and art books can be purchased there. I also want to tell you about the planned Daddy God Art Museum. I'm very excited about this project. My main and biggest project for the rest of my life is to build this Daddy God Art Museum to house all my paintings of Meher Baba after I pass on. Here I want to show you some architectural renderings of the planned museum. You can see the main entrance hall that will greet visitors when they first arrive. Here is the art studio where I can paint, edit videos, work on book publishing, and my staff of animators can create. Here is the main common area, a living room-like area, the upper mezzanine with all the paintings of Meher Baba on the walls, the veranda where people can enjoy the outdoors, kitchen, and dining area. The architectural plan is for a traditional South Carolina low-country style of a large home that will house the paintings and can be used for public gatherings and possibly even overnight stays. You see, I was an architect major in college. I love architecture, so I plan to enjoy many years designing and building this museum. My vision for the Daddy God Art Museum is for future visitors and pilgrims to this area of the South Carolina coast in the next few hundred years to have a place to stop for a couple of hours to refresh and be inspired by paintings of Meher Baba. We now have 4 places in this area that attract those interested in learning more about Meher Baba. Foremost, we have the Meher Spiritual Center, founded for Meher Baba, where people can stay on retreat and attend programs of movies and speakers on Meher Baba. This center was dedicated and built for Meher Baba, who visited it 3 times in the 1950s. Right across the street from the center is a bookstore selling all books regarding Meher Baba. About 45 minutes south of the center, there's the world-famous Brookgreen Sculpture and Horticulture Gardens, where people can walk in the path of Meher Baba, who visited there one day himself. There is Yaupon Dunes. This is the house where Meher Baba stayed for some time while he was recuperating from a car accident. He had a painful car accident in America that he said was his modern-day crucifixion for this incarnation. Finally, the ultimate destination, or the alternate destination, would be the dream of where the Daddy God Art Museum would be situated south of Meher Center on the road to Charleston. It would be situated with the ocean front on one side and backed by the beautiful local salt marshes on the other. Anyone wanting to visit historic Charleston for the day can stop at the museum for a couple of hours on the drive down. Here I want to show you a few recent paintings that I have created for the museum. I think I have about 30 done so far, but I plan many, many dozens more. These are very elaborate and time-consuming paintings done with oil on canvas in a very large format size of 5 foot by 7 foot. So you can see these are too big for private homes. These paintings are currently being created and housed at my studio, which is just 15 minutes north of Mayhurst Center in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I would like to extend an open invitation to anyone visiting the area to stop by my studio for a short visit, for a cup of chai, and to see the current artwork. Visiting hours are from noon to 6 p.m., and I'm here 7 days a week. Also, here you can see a few of my true life short story books about Meher Baba. These books have been printed and published and are available on Amazon. I'm very excited to tell you about another huge project I'm working on in my studio. I'm very excited about this one, and I think you will be too. With the help of a few animators, I am working on full feature film-length Walt Disney-style animated movies of Meher Baba done in my Woden style of depicting his image. Currently, we are creating a 5-minute presentation sample of what the full-length movie might look like. We plan to use this mini presentation to show our proposed film to the public when we are asking for financial donations to pay the animators. Animation is a very labor-intensive and time-consuming endeavor, and the animation staff must be paid in order to live and be able to afford to work on this project. Finally, I would like to invite anyone who feels inclined to support the vision of the Daddy God Art Museum, as well as the animated movies, to donate financially. It will take a few $1 million in my estimation to build this museum as I envision it, and to finance its operation and maintenance for the next few hundred years. I would also like to suggest that people leave donations for the museum in their will. Information on how you can donate is provided in the section below this video. You can send donations now to my PayPal account, which is wodinart@aol.com. That's WODINART@AOL.com. From time to time, I might set up GoFundMe-style accounts where you can donate, and eventually I will also create a tax-exempt foundation where you can make larger donations that will be tax-free. Thank you so much for watching this video. I apologize for the sound of all the motorcycles out here. It's Bike Week in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which happens every May and September, I think, and it gets very loud here then. And also my parrot over here keeps beeping in once in a while. So I apologize for the noise. I hope you'll return in the future to see more videos that I intend to create telling more true life, real adventures with Meher Baba that the world has yet to hear. So, bye-bye for now. See you later.